Hello students, welcome to your English class. Today we will be doing a very interesting story called Bholi. Now Bholi is a story about feminism, right? It is about women empowerment. It is about women right. It is about how women are neglected in our society and how they strive and fight for their own right. Our central character, Bholi, is a village girl. When the story begins, she is shown to be a small child, and with the end of the story, she grows up into a youngster. Now, Bholi is a story of transformation of a young village girl who is neglected, who is not liked by anyone, who does not know, who is illiterate. Bholi is a story about the journey of an illiterate, neglected, unwanted girl child to a person who is mature, who knows how to tackle situation, who can talk about her own right, who can fight for her own existence. So in this story, Bholi, we find a small girl named Bholi. Her real name is Sulekha. It is only at the beginning we are told that her name is Sulekha. The word Sulekha means who has the capacity to write good, who has good command over language, who can write good, who can speak well. But this girl Bholi, since she was one of the many child in well-reputed family, she was the youngest girl child in the family. She suffered negligence from the very beginning. She had smallpox, she fell down, her parts of her brain was damaged. No one took any care. As a result, when she grew up a little, she started stammering. She spoke late, and when she started speaking, all she could do was stammering. She could not even utter a single word. Right? So this bothered the parents, actually not bothered the parent, they were frustrated. They thought Bholi to be a burden. None of the girl child was given education because in the village it was thought that girl child, if they receive education, they would be most unlucky. Now this kind of thought is prevalent in many parts of India. Still now it is prevalent. Right. So none of the children was given education. And there were two other boys, elder boys, who received education outside the village. They were well educated. But Bholi received education, not because the parents bothered about them, but because a new school opened, and since her father was a government employee, there was a pressure on him to put her own girl child first. Now, since they knew that Bholi was rather a burden in the family, she was sent to the school. Because they knew that she had she had been suffering from smallpox, chickenpox, and her face was all full of pock marks. So they knew that she has no intelligence, no wit, nor good looks. So there is hardly any chance for her to be married. So they thought, now let it be the teacher's responsibility to look after her. But this was the turning point in Bholi's life. Bholi's life got transformed. She changed from a simple village girl to a girl who knew how to fight for her existence, who knew how to speak. Sulekha, as I was telling you, I just shifted from the main point. Sulekha means a person who has good command, command of language, who can write well. But this girl, Bholi, could hardly speak a word. She stammered. Right? So throughout the story, she has been called Bholi. Only at the beginning, the name is Sulekha. Only at the end, we find her to be a transformed girl. At the school, she received education. The teacher played a leading role in her life. She was responsible for changing her. She instilled new hope in her. She explained her the importance of studying. And slowly and gradually she grew up. When she grew up, the parent found out a match for her. And they never knew that Bholi could speak. They thought Bholi to be the same person who could not even utter a word. They found out a person called Bishambarnath who was already married and whose age was similar, who was as aged as Bholi's father. And he had children from his previous marriage. and he limped. The only plus point was that he was rich enough, right? So the marriage was fixed without even taking Bholi's consent. Bholi did not react because she thought that she should not do anything that can harm the parents, her parents' prestige. So she kept quiet, right? But at the end, when the person Bishambarnath, he comes to marry Bholi, he claims a dowry after seeing Bholi's face. It was all filled with pockmark. On her parents' part, Bholi's parents thought it was lucky. They hid the fact that Bholi could not speak properly, neither has she good looks. They completely hid it from everyone's knowledge. And when Bishambarnath saw that his bride's face was all filled with pockmark, he devised a new way of earning money. He said that now he needs 5,000 rupees as dowry, which was almost impossible for Bholi's father to arrange. But somehow he arranged the money, and it was then that we find Bholi speak. She said that she is not going to marry such a person, such a coward and such a greedy person. To everyone's amazement, she started speaking very fluently and with a lot of courage and boldness, right? And then the marriage was thus broken. And when Bholi's father said that what is she going to do, Bholi said clearly, very clearly she said that she is going to work in the same school where she has been taught, and only then she has been addressed as Sulekha. So her name got its true meaning when she could speak for her own rights. Okay, so now we would start reading the chapter line by line. Please open to page number 54, Bholi. Her name was Sulekha. But since her childhood, everyone had been calling her Bholi, the simpleton. So in the very beginning, it has been made clear that her real name was Bholi, but she was rather called her real name was Sulekha, but she was rather called Bholi because of her simple nature. She was the fourth daughter of the Nambardar Ramlal. When she was 10 months old, she had fallen off the cot on her head, and perhaps it had damaged parts of her brain. Right? So she was the daughter of a government employee, Nambardar Ramlal. And when she was just 10 months old, she fell down from her cot and it damaged parts of her brain. That was why she remained a backward child and came to be known as Bholi, the simpleton. At birth, the child was very fair and pretty, but when she was 2 years old, she had an attack of smallpox. Only the eyes were saved, but the entire body was permanently disfigured by deep black pockmarks. So, this shows the utter carelessness from the parts of the parents. She fell down, parts of her brain was damaged, she was not taken to doctor, she had smallpox attack, again her face, her body was disfigured with pockmarks, but no one bothered to do anything for her. Little Sulekha could not speak till she was 5, and when at last she learned to speak, she stammered. The other children often made fun of her and mimicked her. As a result, she talked very little because of the fun. Because of the ridicule she used to face every day, she stopped speaking, and this further damaged her speaking skill. She forgot how to speak. Ramlal had 7 children, 3 sons and 4 daughters, and the youngest of them was Bholi. It was a prosperous farmer's household, and there was plenty to eat and drink. All the children except Bholi were healthy and strong. The sons had been sent to the city to study in schools and later in college. Of the daughter, Radha, the eldest. So, as you can see, it was a prosperous family. There was plenty to eat and drink, and the children, the sons, they were sent to school and later to the colleges. And but the daughters, they were not sent to school. Of the daughters, Radha, the eldest, had already been married. The second daughter, Mangala's marriage had also been settled. And when that was done, Ramlal would think of the third, Champa. So the names of the daughter was Radha. She was eldest. She has already been married. The second daughter, Mangala's marriage has also been fixed. And when the marriage would be solemnized, then only she would think of the third daughter, Champa. All of them were good-looking, healthy girls, and it was not difficult to find bridegrooms for them. But the only problem was with Bholi. But Ramlal was worried about Bholi. She had neither good looks nor intelligence. Bholi was 7 years old when Mangala was married. The same year, a primary, so Bholi was just 7 years old when the second daughter, Mangala, was married. Right. The same year, a primary school for girls was opened in their village. The Tehsildar Sahib came to perform its opening ceremony. He said to Ramlal, as a revenue official, so he was a revenue, her father was a revenue official, Ramlal was a revenue official, and it was said that since he was a government employee, it was his duty to first send his own daughter to school, so as to show a way for the other villagers. He has to set himself as a role model for the villages. You must send your daughter to school. That night, when Ramlal consulted his wife, she cried, "Are you crazy? If girls go to school, who will marry them?" But Ramlal had not the courage to disobey the Tehsildar. He had to save his job also. He couldn't disobey the Tehsildar. At last, his wife said, "I'll tell you what to do. Send Bholi to school. As it is, there is little chance of her getting married with her ugly face and lack of sense. Let the teacher at school worry about her." Now she said that it's very clear that she has neither good look nor wits. So let the teacher bother about her. She would never be married by anyone. The next day, Ramlal caught Bholi by the hand and said, "Come with me. I'll take you to school." Bholi was frightened. She did not know what a school was like. She remembered how a few days ago their old cow Lakshmi had been turned out of the house and sold. Now see, she was very scared. She hardly had any conversation with her parents. So when the father caught her hand and dragged her towards school, she was scared. She compared herself, her fate, with that of a cow, Lakshmi. See how pathetic the daughter, she was so neglected that she thought, she was so insecure in the house that she thought that as Lakshmi was taken out and sold, perhaps this is her turn now. She would also be sold. "No, no, 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 no," she shouted in terror and pulled her hand out from her father's grip. "What's the matter with you, you fool?" shouted Ramlal. "I'm only taking you to school." Then he told his wife, "Let her wear some decent clothes today." So see, she was not even given some good clothing. It was just because in order to save their respect, in order to save their prestige, they gave a good dress to Bholi because she was sent to school. And everyone will come to know that if she wears bad dress, dirty dress, then shabby clothes, everyone will come to know that the parents do not take care of the child, which was very true. He then told his wife, "Let her wear some decent clothes today, or else what will the teachers and other schoolgirls think of us when they see her?" New clothes had never been made for Bholi. The old dresses of her sisters were passed on to her, so she always wore the hand-me-down clothes of her sisters. No one cared to mend or wash her clothes, but today she was lucky to receive a clean dress which had shrunk after many washing and no longer fitted Champa. So she was given a clean dress which had become faded out, right? But it no longer fitted Champa, so it was given to her. She was even bathed and oil was rubbed to her dry and matted hair. Only then did she begin to believe that she was being taken to a place better than her home. In her home, she did not receive any care. So when all these cares were given to her, she thought that perhaps she is being taken to a better place. When they reached the school, the children were already in their classroom. Ramlal handed over his daughter to the headmistress. Left alone, the poor girl looked about her with fear-laden eyes. Fear-laden eyes means eyes filled with fear. When she was left alone, she was all filled with fear, and she started looking here and there with her eyes full of fear. There were several rooms, and in each room girls like her squatted on mats, reading from books or writing on slates. The headmistress asked Bholi to sit down in a corner in one of the classrooms. She saw that all the rooms were filled with small girls like her, and the headmistress asked her to sit in one of the rooms. She did not know what exactly a school was like and what happened there, but she was glad to find so many girls almost of her own age present there. She hoped that one of these girls might become her friend. She actually had no friends, so she thought that there are so many girls here, perhaps one day she would also have a true friend. The lady teacher who was in the class was saying something to the girls, but Bholi could understand nothing. She looked at the pictures on the wall. The colors fascinated her. The horse was brown, just like the horse on which the Tehsildar had come to visit their village. The goat was black, like the goat of their neighbor. The parrot was green, like the parrot she had seen in the mango orchard. and the cow was just like their Lakshmi. And suddenly Bholi noticed that the teacher was standing by her, smiling at her. So she was engrossed with all the pictures that hung all over the classroom, right? She identified, she was engrossed, she was very happy to see the colorful pictures when she saw that the teacher was standing by her and looking at her and smiling. What is your name, little one? Now she could stammer. She could not say her name was Bholi. She could stammer no further than that. Then she began to cry and tears flowed from her eyes in a helpless flood. She kept her head down and she sat in her corner, not daring to look up at the girls who she knew were still laughing at her. She knew it very well that all the girls would be laughing because she could not even tell her name. She stammered so badly. When the school bell rang, throughout the class, she did not look up. Right? When the school bell rang, all the girls scurried down of the classroom, but Bholi dared not leave her corner. Her head still lowered, she kept on sobbing. Bholi? The teacher's voice was so soft, and now she was crying. She did not even notice that the school bell had rang and all the children had gone out. When the teacher saw that, teacher came, stood by her, and very softly and tenderly called her name. Right? Bholi? The teacher's voice was so soft and soothing. In all her life, she had never been talked like that. It touched her heart. Get up, said the teacher. It was not a command, but just a friendly suggestion. It was not a command of a teacher, get up. But it was just like a very, very friendly suggestion. She asked her in a very soft tone to get up. Bholi got up. Now, tell me your name. Sweat broke out over the whole body. Would her stammering tongue again disgrace her? Again, now she was worried. Would she be able to tell her name, or again she would be disgraced because of her stammering tongue? For the sake of this kind woman, however, she decided to make an effort. Now, this was a kind woman. For the sake of the kind teacher, she decided that, okay, finally she's again going to make a bold effort. She had such a soothing voice, she would not laugh at her. She thought that, no, this lady is not going to laugh at me. So let me try. She began to stammer. Well done, well done. The teacher encouraged her. Come on. Now, the full name. Bholi. At last, she was able to say it and felt relieved that as if it was a great achievement. She had been able to speak her name. Definitely it was a great achievement for her. Well done! The teacher patted her affectionately and said, put the fear out of your heart and you'll be able to speak like everyone else. Now she said that, see, it's because of your fear you are not being able to speak. Put it out, you'll be able to speak like everyone else. Bholi looked up as if to ask, really? Yes, it will be very easy. You just come to school every day. Will you come? Bholi nodded in affirmation. No, say it aloud. Now the teacher said, no, you have to say that you are going to come. Yes, and Bholi herself was astonished that she had been able to say it. Didn't I tell you? Now, take this book. The book was full of nice pictures, and the pictures were in color. Cat, dog, goat, horse, parrot, tiger, and cow. Just like Lakshmi. See how many times this cow, like Lakshmi, compared herself with a cow. Now, every time there is a reference to the word cow, because she considers herself to be like a dumb cow who lacked courage and who lacked boldness. And with every picture was a word in big black letters. In 1 month, you'll be able to read this book. Then I'll give you a bigger one. Then a still bigger one. In time, you will be more learned than anyone else in the village. So see what kind of encouragement she received from the teacher. The teacher was constantly encouraging her, constantly boosting up her courage, right? So she was constantly boosting her up. And now with every picture, there was a wall. Now she said that every time she'll come back to school, after she finishes the previous book, she'll be given a new book and a bigger one, a better one, so that after some time she becomes really educated and literate. Then no one will ever be able to laugh at you. People will listen to you with respect and you'll be able to speak without the slightest stammer. And she said that she'll be able to speak without stammering and everyone will listen to her. Understand? Now go home and come back early tomorrow morning. Bholi felt as if suddenly all the bells in the village temple were ringing and The trees in front of her schoolhouse had blossomed into big red flowers. Her heart was throbbing with new hope and a new life. So this conversation, the first conversation with the teacher, was a kind of encouragement, a kind of boost to her. And she felt that her life has started changing. The bells were ringing everywhere, and everywhere she could see colorful flowers. The trees have all of a sudden they have bore beautiful, bright colored flowers. So this shows that she was very happy, and all of a sudden her life was filled with beautiful sounds and color. Sound of bell and beautiful flowers, both these things are very beautiful. One creates the visual effect of melodious sound, which she had not got. She couldn't speak. And the other, beautiful sights, views. Her life was also colorless. So the beautiful colors, it showed that very soon her life is also going to have such beautiful colors. Thus years passed by. The village became a small town. The little primary school became a high school. So time changed, time ran fast, and the village also changed. The little primary school became a high school now. Now there was a cinema under the tin shed and a cotton ginning mill. The mail train began to stop at their railway station. So there in their railway station, the train began to stop. One night after dinner, Ramlal said to his wife, "Then shall I accept Bishambar's proposal?" So one night, as they were about to sleep after dinner, the husband said to the wife, Ramlal said his wife, if he should accept Bishambar's proposal. Now, what was the proposal? Proposal to marry Bholi. Yes, certainly. His wife said, Bholi will be lucky to get such a well-to-do bridegroom. I said, yes. And Bholi would be, the mother said she's going to be very lucky. Why? Because in village side, where education does not play any role, wealth is the only thing with which you assess a person. So though this Bishambar was very old, almost as aged as the father, though this Bishambar was already married and the wife had died, though this Bishambar was a lame person, yet marriage was weighed according to the property a person has. A big shop, a house of his own, and I hear several thousand in the bank. Moreover, he is not asking for any dowry, so they considered themselves to be lucky because they'll be off with their burden, and they won't have to pay anything for that. Yes, certainly, his wife said. Boli will be lucky to get such a well-to-do bridegroom. Okay, now that's right, but he's not so young. Now the father is still a little more concerned. He said that, okay, that's fine, but he's not so young, almost the same age as I am. And he also limps. Moreover, the children from his first wife are quite grown up. So the children of the first wife, they're also grown up. So what does it matter? The wife replied, 45 or 50. It is no great age for a man. Who said that 45, 50, it's not a great age for a man. We are lucky that he is from another village and does not know about her pockmarks and the lack of sense. So they consider themselves lucky that the bridegroom does not know anything about the shortcomings of Bholi, her pockmarks and her lack of intelligence. So see what a cruel person the mother is. What is the wife going to suffer when she is at her in-laws? When the husband will come to know all the defects, what will happen to her? There would be no one to save her. But still, they would be able to give off their burden to someone else, and they are happy with that. They are not thinking about the girl. If we don't accept this proposal, she may remain unmarried all her life. Yes, but I wonder what Bholi will say. What will the witless one say? Now she was Bholi. She was a non. Now they consider. That's right, but he is not so young. Okay, now yes, but I wonder what Bholi will say. What will that witless one say? She is like a dumb cow. So here is the comparison. She considered herself to be like a dumb cow, and here now also once again, she has been compared to a dumb cow by the mother. Maybe you are right, muttered Ramlal. In the other corner of the courtyard, Bholi lay awake on her cot, listening to her parents' whispered conversation. Now Bholi, it's not that Bholi did not know anything. Bholi listened to everything. Bholi knew everything. Bholi listened to the conversation between their parents. Right, and she was disheartened that if she considers herself to be the cow, then her parents were no less than butchers. right, who are selling her to a person, to a house where she is going to be tortured throughout her life, because no one knew about her pock marks, no one knew about her lack of wit. Bishambar Nath was a well-to-do grocer. He came with a big party of friends and relations with him for the wedding. A brass band playing a popular tune from an Indian film headed the procession, with the bridegroom riding a decorated horse. Now it's just like other marriages with the band party and the bridegroom is coming on a horse and this and that. And there was a huge pomp and splendor. He had never dreamt of his fourth daughter would have such a grand wedding. Now for villagers it is a matter of prestige. The more you spend on your wedding party, the more you are considered to be rich, and it is a prestige issue for the parents. Bholi's elder sisters who had come for the occasions were envious of her luck. Now they thought that how good, in what a good family is their youngest sister going to be married. They are so rich, they are so well off. When the auspicious moment came, the priest said, "Bring the bride." Bholi, clad in the red silken bridal dress, was led to the bride's place near the sacred fire. "Garland the bride," one of his friends prompted Bishambar Nath. The bridegroom lifted the garland of yellow marigold. Now as he was going to garland the bride, he lifted the garland of yellow marigold flower. A woman slipped back the silken veil from the bride's face, and it was for the first time that Bishambar Nath saw the face of Bholi. Bishambar took a quick glance. The garland remained posed in her hand. The bride slowly pulled the veil over her face. Now immediately he did not garland the wife. Bride, right? He held it in his hand, and the bridegroom pulled down the veil. "Have you seen her?" said Bishambar to a friend next to him. "She has pock marks on her face." "So what? You are not young either." So the friend said, "Fine, if she has pock marks, then you are also not so young." "Maybe, but if I am to marry her, her father must give me 5,000 rupees. Now here comes the bargain. Ramlal went and turned his turban and placed his turban, his honor, at Bishambar's feet. So the father came and put his turban on his feet. "Take 2,000 rupees. No, 5,000, or we go back. Keep your daughter. Be a little considerate. Please. Be a little considerate, please. If you go back, I can never show my face in the village. Then out with 5,000. Tears streaming down his face, Ramlal went in, opened the safe and counted the notes. He placed the bundle at the bridegroom's feet. So he brought all the money and put it in the bridegroom's feet. On Bishambar's greedy face appeared a triumphant smile. So finally he had been able to hit the deal. He has been able to make a good bargain. He had gambled and won. "Give me the garland," he announced. Now, after getting the money, he said that he is going to marry her. Once again, the veil was slipped back from the bride's face, but this time her eyes were not downcast. She was not looking down. Now we would see a different Bholi. She was looking up, looking straight at her prospective husband. And in her eyes, there was neither anger nor hate, only cold contempt. Cold contempt means hatred. Bishambar raised the garland to place it round the bride's neck. And before he could do so, Bholi's hand struck out like a streak of lightning. As he was going to garland the bride, immediately Bholi struck her hand and the garland flung away. And the garland was flung into the fire. She got up and threw away the veil. And now she removed the veil also. "Pitaji," said Bholi in a clear, loud voice. And her father, mother, sisters, brother, relation, neighbors were all startled. They were amazed. They never knew that Bholi could speak. To hear her speak without even the slightest stammer. There was not even a slightest stammer. "Pitaji, take back your money. I'm not going to marry this man." Ramlal was thunderstruck. The guests begin to whisper, so shameless, so ugly and so shameless. Now in village, it is a matter of criticism that a woman is not marrying the husband. "Bholi, are you crazy?" shouted Ramlal. "You want to disgrace your family? Have some regard for our izzat." "Now, for the sake of your izzat," said Bholi, "I was willing to marry this old lame man." Now, she said very openly that she was ready to marry this man only in order to save the prestige of the family. "But I will not have such a mean, greedy and contemptible means hateful, coward as my husband. I won't. What a shameless girl. We all thought she was a harmless dumb cow." Now someone from the gathering said that she was acting very shamelessly. Bholi turned violently to the old woman. Yes, auntie, you are right. You all thought I was a dumb, driven cow. That's why you wanted to hand me over to this heartless creature. But now the dumb cow, the stammering fool, is speaking. Do you want to hear more? Vishwanath the grocer started to go back with his party. The confused bandsman thought this was the end of the ceremony and struck up a closing song. Ramlal stood rooted to the ground, his head bowed low with the weight of grief and shame. Now Ramlal's head was bowed with shame and grief. The flames of the sacred, the band party was stopped. Vishwanath went away, and Ramlal, it was a matter of prestige for Ramlal that he was not been able to get his daughter married. The flames of the sacred fire slowly died out. The fire also died out. Everyone was gone. Ramlal turned to Bholi and said, "But what will you do? No one will ever marry you now. What shall we do with you?" And Sulekha, now see, again, at first we know that her name was Sulekha. And at the end, we once again know that once again she's addressed by the name Sulekha, because her name has gained its importance now. It has become justified now. And Sulekha said in a voice that was calm and steady, "Don't you worry, Pitaji. In your old age, I will serve you and mother, and I will teach in the same school where I learned so much. Isn't that right, ma'am?" The teacher had all along stood in a corner watching the drama. "Yes, Bholi, of course," she replied. She had been watching all this drama. She had been standing on a corner, and in her smiling eyes was the light of deep satisfaction that an artist feels when contemplating the completion of a masterpiece. So when she saw the transformed Bholi, she was deeply satisfied, and this satisfaction was just like the satisfaction an artist feels just before completing his own masterpiece. Because he realizes that he has been able to give the masterpiece his own ideas, his own self. He has been breathed into the lifeless thing, life. So the teacher also felt that the Bholi was a lifeless thing. She had no voice. She had no boldness. The teacher had been able to breathe into her life, transform her completely. So she was deeply satisfied. She was deeply happy. So this is the end of the chapter. Hope you enjoyed the chapter. Thank you for attending the class. Goodbye.